All right, welcome back. Another week, another episode. I guess we'll start probably going to change the name of the podcast. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I think you and I may have even talked about this. Being able to adapt, change. Don't worry about feeling. I think the whole concept of. I think Malcolm Gladwell once talked about this. That it's if you know something should change, you should change it, and not worry about the connotation to being wishy-washy.
Yeah,
because there was a whole like for a while in politics, right? There would be if somebody changed their position, they would be labeled as that.
They're the waffler.
Right? But how crazy it is when you think about the other perspective. How crazy it is if somebody literally never changes their position when and there are a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Especially, it's very visible.
I think a real sign of intelligence, and I'm not alone on this, is the ability to change your mind based on new data, new information, the world. You're like, to hold fast to what you believed at a certain point is probably insanity.
It is, and I think what we've learned about AI, right? So what we're going to do is, and the name's too long, right? This week in accounting AI, I can't even get it out without stumbling. But we're going to change it. Just the accounting disruptors. It's easier to say, number one, but no. And more importantly, it's just what we've realized, you and I, is how much broader all of this is around AI. I think we don't want to not capture people that could benefit from.
Right. I think at the outset of this,
because if you just see this week in accounting, they're going to go on there and talk about like
another tool,
and clearly that's not what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, I think that we have a lot of learning through what we've been doing, which was at the outset, we went through it. I'm going to use the word again, the grieving process. In the beginning of this, I'm like, wow, I'm not going to have a job in a year or so. It's all going to go away. To recognizing the actual utility of these things and how much goes into just being able to even use the products. And so it's not just like, again, I think I was probably thinking about it more like software, install this, everything goes away, to more the reality of the situation, which is this is enabling a lot more things to occur, and it still requires a tremendous amount of human input and change, and those things like change management.
Yeah, no, they matter.
How impactful they are across the organization.
There's so many aspects to it. The psychological aspects to it, just like you said, the grieving.
I've been like on that.
Yeah, well, I think you right before you started telling me a story, and I said, hold it. So why don't we start there? Tell me about the conversation you just had. I think we're going to do it just to give the listeners, I think, some insight as to what I think we're going to talk about today is this story that you had, and again, the psychological aspects and being front of mind around more of the empathic situations that we should be more, I think, vocal about. Yeah. To share those, because I do think they're very important in all this. But secondly, hot off the press, some latest statistics from our good friends at A16Z, which I think will be really interesting to talk about, especially as it relates to the SaaS world and what is the let's just call it like the inroads AI is making, or what the expected inroads are making, how people are viewing it from a valuation perspective.
That's interesting. Post SaaS apocalypse, right?
Yes.
We had that big blow up.
And there's, again, like what typically happens in these things, a lot of times something fuels something. It looks upon the event overall as all boats are going to get sunk.
Yep.
And then what typically happens as the storm starts to lift, you get a better sense of, well, who's going to survive? Like the facts start to take shape on moving forward. But so that's what we have, I think, here.
Cool.
At least there's some, I think, awareness as to how these valuations are playing out and why.
Right.
So if somebody was to look at it today and looks at software A versus software B, why is there such a difference in price? And I think it's starting to become clearer how at least the investors are viewing it.
Okay, cool.
And then the third is we got to talk about England. We just there are so many lessons there, and I'm definitely going to write about that. I've been dying to write about it. It's just we just been releasing stuff lately.
It's been great.
So much to write about. Okay, so let's start with your story.
Yeah. So this is CFO of a great client, great guy. He's a contemporary of mine. We're around the same age. Kids are the exact same age. And, I was just asking him, and this is a company that's purely in the technology space. And his background was he's been the CFO at a few different VC-backed companies. And so he's in the space, I would call it. And when we opened up the topic in a conversation, or when I started asking him about it, he brought up the lines that made me channel Angelo from last week, which was like, I could feel the grieving, and I could feel his specific response was like, I am almost a little bit happy I'm on the back end of this, because I look at the front end and I think, how are the next generation of accountants going to play in this game? Like, I feel like I'm really good at this because I did these things 10,000 times. I went through reconciliations. I went through all of these. And I mean, I was thankful that we had the discussion with Angelo last week, and I was able to frame for him sort of like the grieving and then the positive news out of this. So I don't know if we got into this last week, but to further what Angelo had said was, their lead developer, just to recap, their lead developer was having an adverse reaction to bringing AI in.
Yeah.
And it was really, as he dug deeper, it was rooted in the fact that this guy had spent so many years becoming an exceptional developer, and now coming to terms with the fact that in his mind, this thing's better than me.
Yeah.
And to some respects, that's probably accurate. But in the overall sense, what they had done was they embraced the technology, and they had gone from each developer on average shipping 2 units, we'll just call them for here, to good developers shipping more like 14.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a far more fulfilling job. And the secondary piece to that is it requires them to hire so many more developers now, because they're able to solve more problems, discover more problems to be solved. So this is expanding their workforce as a result of this. So they went through the grieving. They, together kind of talked about, what are the things that I'm worried about? This is a worrisome thing to get into, right? This is tremendously disruptive to my career, my main thing. And so getting through that together and getting through that openly and talking with people about it was very impactful for Angelo. And that's what I was able to bring to this situation. And just talking through like, well,
that's great.
These are great things that you're going to be able to now do. And the people behind you are just going to be trained differently as like the evolution of time. Everyone's been trained differently. Curriculums have always changed in the way that we've learned.
And I think what you can use, I always like turning something upside down and look at it from a different perspective. It opens up lines of connective tissue again.
Yep.
Right? It opens up conversations that we haven't been having.
Right.
And also, it because we're all going through it together, there is a collectiveness that can happen from that.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to seize that opportunity.
Yeah.
And then we've been doing that here and seeing, and again, I'll give credit to Amanda Dominguez. She's been on this for 3 years. We need to be more connected again. And because we've been so with our heads buried as to what's to come and understanding where the threats are. But by doing that, we lost sight of just what you were referring to as a lot of the fear that's out there, a lot of the uncertainty that's out there, a lot of people feeling, do I even belong anymore?
Yeah.
And that was already happening post-COVID. So I think you had these two collisions occurring where COVID already started to have this sense of the belonging and almost workforce that's half independent contractor.
Right.
And then you have the AI that's moving in, which is the uncertainty. And those things are big forces that are converging at one time.
Right.
And as an organization, I think what we really, we're battling these two things, but the thing that we've seen that has been so healthy has been getting back to the relationships we have with our people.
Yeah.
And opening up these lines of communication again. It's been great. You walk, I'm sure you feel it.
Oh, you could feel it in the place. This is a really good opportunity for us to draw on what we learned from COVID, because my thinking here is that rarely do humans go through things together, right? If you think about it, like, there's disasters in the world over there, and you easily kind of like, you read about it, You're not emotionally invested in it. Better people than me can get that. I don't, I read it and I'm like, oh, that stinks. And then I'm on to the next thing. COVID was something we all went through together, right? Like, we were there.
Yeah.
Tons of learning as a result of all of that. This is something that we're going through as a profession in our little bubble, but as a world, right? Like, we're all in this kind of thing together, for better or for worse. Right. So I think being open and honest about being like fearful is really fair.
It is. And we have to talk about that.
Yeah.
And clearly there are a lot of people who already feel disconnected.
Right.
I mean, we can even go as far as to the country where people have already felt very disconnected as to, I can't even participate in the American dream anymore. But that same sort of disconnect starts to happen in your organizations as a result of the COVID issues that we are all faced with. And how do you belong to the organization if you've been remote, and how do you come back, and what am I going to do with this new policy of so you have all that, and then you have this AI, which is, I'm unsure what this is going to do to me, and what all, again, like the craft. Am I going to be as useful? Am I going to be as understanding as to the new ways things are going to get done? Am I capable of being able to train myself up?
I can confidently say, like, with truth behind it, for the grand majority, yes. Right? Yes. And this comes from a place of, I have been open. Like, I, in the beginning, was like, this is going to be the end. And if I just take yesterday alone, right? I'm not going back in time or predicting what's to occur. I had basis running two completely separate things for me for two completely different clients that were projects that one took about an hour and 30 minutes, one took about 45 minutes. While they were operating, I didn't lose any connectivity to the projects. I didn't lose any important data. What it was, like, what I needed done was the organization of the data, the presentation of the case. Like, I needed those things done. I don't know that anybody at WIS doing those things would have become better by pulling through the IRS notices, summarizing the data. And, like, I don't know that there was any true learning missed at any level of WIS by that being done by Basis. So,
well, let's just say what Basis is real quick. Basis is, for everyone that may not be familiar, or maybe you've heard of Basis, but you don't know what they do. Basis essentially is it's an intelligence layer. So if you've interacted with ChatGPT or Gemini or even Claude, similar aspects to it. It's just that there's an intelligence layer that's running over whatever data you have you're filling it. And then there's the ability for, it's a little bit of a stronger model, I would say, for certain deterministic aspects.
It is. It's got a smaller language model attached to it that's really specific to accounting. So why I love it for these types of problems is it speaks accounting really well.
Right.
And I don't have to think about the prompting as much as if I'm just talking to a senior accountant. So that's been, or a different leveled accountant. So that's been really good for me. But so if we just take that, it made me better because I was able to get to the point where I was at a discussion with people internally about what we need to do, consolidated both projects, unrelated, within 2 hours. We had presentation of data. I was confident in the accuracy of it. I was able to look back quickly and be like, yep, these things make sense. And then we're able to solution so much faster. Like, as a company, we're able to meet and actually have something to talk about rather than meet to talk about how we're going to get the data, to create the summary, to get to the, like those things, they're not value added. So yeah, it's a change to the job. And I could look at it like, oh, we don't need this senior accounting, but we need them just as much. The problems aren't slowing down. Our ability to react to them is becoming quicker, which is a great thing.
I think what's going to happen is the actual craft is going to be better than it ever was.
Right.
And what I mean by that is that a lot of the upper end of what you really wanted to spend more time on is going to be where you're spending so much more time, and the majority, it's going to flip.
Right.
And you're going to spend so much more time on, what am I really presenting? Is this the information that we've wanted to get towards? Am I missing something?
Right.
What else should be included here? Are there other comparisons? Maybe there's predictive data that I'm finding here, and I'm going to dig into that. I just think it flips it.
Yeah.
And your actual craft, yes, maybe you're not spending so much time anymore. If I was to look at it as like woodworking, and it's getting these, the sander ready, and making sure that I have all of my tools that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be spending time like making sure I'm edging, each piece of this with the hand sandpaper, and that's going to come to you in a better form. And then you're actually going to be able to spend more time fine-tuning what you've wanted to look like. So the labor goes to fine-tuning it than it does actually just get it collecting the wood and spending time on preparing the wood to be designed in a way that gets you to what you wanted it to be, your finished product.
It's almost specialization at scale, what it affords the ability to do. And in your example,
without losing the craft.
Correct.
You still have to know what this all means. That's not going away.
Right.
Double entry accounting is not going away.
No. A painter wants to paint.
Right.
And I was never a painter, but they're just better at it. You see a wall that's done by a painter. It's better than what I can do.
You're pretty good.
Despite what I could try. I don't think that any one of them would say, you know what I'm really going to miss is taping the edges. I love taping the edges, hammering the nail, right? Like those are the things that right now we're able to take care of if we just overlay it with the accounting world. Like nobody wants to paw through. One of the ones yesterday, the one that ran for an hour and a half, was like a litany of IRS notices. And you've been through them. There's no other way than by hand prior to this. The pages and pages of junk to try to pull out and extract the important, like, to not have to do that is the opposite of
well, I think a lot of people that aren't familiar with what goes on in an actual office of the CFO, an accounting firm, they don't know the challenges that exist to get just the data.
Right.
Let alone manipulate and analyze the data, get the data.
And once you get the data, a huge part of my job and your job has been, it can't be right. You got to ask 50 questions to make sure it's right before you do anything with it. So a lot of the time is on correction and recorrection and going back. And not that disappears in this world, but the iteration between correcting it and getting it back, it's so much quicker.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, like you still spot errors. We'll find errors. There's things that, it's getting better.
Especially for companies, I mean, think about it this way, and I want to get to these stats here. If you're a consolidating company and you run your separate P&Ls and balance sheets, everything may look good on a standalone basis. Mm-hmm. By the time oh my, we have an issue here, it's 4 months after you spent trying to consolidate everything through Excel.
Right.
These are the things that people are not familiar with, is that a lot of times that errors get found is just purely analytical.
Sure.
Right? But you can't sometimes do any of the analytics until you actually have all of this together. Mm-hmm. And then you could say, wait a second, what happened in our plant over in Asia? What? The intercompany wasn't cleared out. What happened? You don't know that.
You lack the ability to step away from it because you're in it so deep. And I still remember one of the first things that, like, you remember certain things during your life and your career and all of that. It was early in my tenure at WIS. I was working on an audit. Partner was coming out, so you do the whole, I got to get my work papers right. I got to get and I'd been working on AR and fixed assets for this company. It was one that you worked on with me. Getting it all ready, partner's coming out, and he sat down and he asked me, what's the net income this year? Mm-hmm. I had clue. No idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I promise you I didn't even have a guess as to what it was. And I just think like I was in the
weeds,
the workings of the thing to not even step back and be, now knowing what I know, like that should have been a primary driver.
That's still
of
the problem
audit,
today. As much advances have happened in software and everything else, we still have that problem today. I mean, we've experienced it even in our own house here. Sometimes you ask, how's revenue this year go up? And they look at you like, the binder's done, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
very true.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on. These are some pretty good things I'd like to get into. So this is all about like SaaS, the apocalypse, the
Yep.
decimation. I guess it's what, 4 or 5 months ago at this point,
Yeah.
maybe even longer. I don't know. I'm horrible with time lately, but I probably within.
Yeah. It was
okay.
cold. That's what I remember.
Yeah. So this is interesting, right? So again, I'm reading from here. This is like so fresh off the press. Literally printed it before I came here. I haven't had time to completely digest it all, but I do have some good ways I've summarized. So first of all, public software multiples based on the next 12-month free cash flow below 2014 levels. That's insane.
Wow.
That's a massive erosion, right?
It's a big bet.
Yeah. So it's the lowest premium the market has assigned to software's cash generation in over a decade.
Wow.
It's massive, right? All right. So, and this is interesting. There's a 50 percentage point spread between the top and bottom of software.
Okay.
Okay. And this is what we you and I were riffing a little bit before, just in terms of there's the winners and the losers, and it's becoming a little bit clearer as to how that's shaping out and how they're determining that, or at least how they're valuing that in expectations as to what they believe will happen. So the bottom quartile is what's actually dragging the whole thing down. So it's really the underperformers are the ones that investors are feeling are very threatened with AI.
Right.
So who's winning and who's losing?
That's what I mean.
Okay.
I don't know if I
could
can ask these questions. Like, this is immediately what's popped into my head.
Yeah. So the cyber,
Yep.
anybody say, because they actually feel that's going to go up, which makes sense.
Yes.
With AI, there's going to be more threats
If
to
I was a
open source data.
bad guy within the actors space of utility of AI, I'd be trying to get in, and I'd have the capability to get in a variety of ways that I didn't before by using AI.
And then vertical SaaS.
Okay.
Okay. So putting you on the spot, why vertical SaaS? Why do you think that they're looking at that as a barrier to entry for AI? Vertical SaaS.
I think because of trust, probably that's been built when you own the system from top to bottom, and still seeing AI as not a broad thing, but more of a specific piece to disrupt. So I think it's going to be difficult for AI to be disruptive in the current state or in the immediate future state on the entirety of the stack, and more focused on individual aspects. And I think customers are going to be slower to bring it in as a piece and disrupt the revenue stream that I'm paying for right now in this vertical stack. If I had a small solution and I was a software company, I'd be worried.
Yeah.
Because I think that's something that's easy to disrupt.
Yeah,
But if
I mean,
own the
you're nailing it.
entirety-
I mean, basically what they say, it's that any specialized information, bingo, shall check for you.
Oh, look at that.
All right, around
I'm a part-time
again, our
investor,
favorite word, workflows.
All right.
Data and customer relationships.
Yep.
So anything that's going to be close to the customer, and there's something that's been put in place that there's something that goes deep within an organization to be hard to disrupt.
Yep.
Okay. Anything close to the customer, I think is going to be hard. So what do you think is losing?
I mean, what I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier is like very specific solutions without deep trust or access to customer data, or I would say critical company internal data.
Yeah.
Like it's easily disrupted. I don't want to get into specifics of things that I would.
Well, like you were saying before, horizontal, right?
Yeah.
So anything horizontal, SaaS. So if you think about marketplaces, even, they're going to have a problem because agents are going to be able to. You don't need so much of that anymore if you have agents going to where it needs to go. You don't need to have an aggregated place.
You can outsource that to an agent.
So ad tech, and you're seeing that, right? Point solutions, AI is like, that's where there's a lot of disruption on these point solutions built out of AI.
Right.
But I think the biggest thing that has come out of this is that software is not the moat.
Right.
That's not the moat. And I think for many of us, for years living underneath, let's call it the innovation that we're depending on happening at the software company to give us improvements, that's been the moat in a way.
Well,
right?
for
Clearly,
our profession,
the moat was we were dependent on that.
Correct.
Now that dependence is being lifted and seeing that, wait a second, why do I have to be with this company if I can have something start to do this on my behalf.
Right.
The stickiness was more of this dependability on them. And then you got to look at, well, what are you depending on, right? So to me, that's what I think that's really the lens. Like, am I so dependent that I need them to do all these things for me that I can do now?
Right.
And it could be an expense management.
Yeah.
All right. It could be anything around like travel, like anything where do I need to have that company do this on my behalf that AI can do now?
Right.
And I think that's what they're waking up to.
I mean,
Because
in a theoretical sense, this makes sense, right? Like if I just think about it like overall, and it lends itself well now into that vertical discussion that we had just now, which is like, I'd be far less inclined to try to solve for, I'm just going to pick on travel because you had mentioned it, but the travel portion of my vertically integrated piece of software, because this is better, it's like, am I going to disrupt this entire thing for that? It's got to be wildly better for me to actually consider that. Or I'm, like, I'm getting good enough from this.
So I think what is we've been talking about this too is just the where the data is and what the data means to us is really key. But I think when you think about even QuickBooks, the system of record is still an important aspect to what we do. You still need a general ledger.
Yeah.
Okay. But the question will be, what other aspects of what we've been using QuickBooks and the workarounds and everything else, what happens to that? I'm just using QuickBooks as an example because it's the most common system of record people can refer to. But we've been talking about this for a while now, is just the relationship with the customer, the closest, the closer you are at this point in that that chain, the more durable you are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So that piece is almost, you have to like layer back from there. It's at like what touches the customer,
right,
and then what doesn't touch the customer,
right,
and that's an important aspect too.
If you're the toll sitting in front of that customer, I think you have long-term stay. And if you don't have a direct toll bridge, I think you're at risk. And that's a broad statement, but that's kind of like, I think the best that I can put it. And it's why I think Apple is as valuable as it is and will continue to be valuable. Apple is the toll gate to all the LLMs, to everything, right? I mean, if you think about it, I'm relying on my computer, but most of the time I'm on my phone. And so my first entree point into any one of these softwares, including Claude, OpenAI, Gemini, is my phone. They're the toll gate. And so if you own the toll gate with your customer, that's the ultimate value, the ultimate potential value.
Yeah, because I think just to kind of simplify this, right, is that if let's just say you're running QuickBooks. You run QuickBooks, and you've built your business on QuickBooks in a way. And you have all these workarounds that are happening. And these are our workflows, this is all our data, our information, and that's just like all over the place. That's what I want people to understand, is that it's all of that, all of those moving things. The actual general ledger and what you have stored, like you got, that's storage of those numbers. That's what we call the system of record. These transactions have to end up somewhere.
Correct.
And that is our place that we're now picking all of our data from. But how we've collapsed all of that data from all different sources and get it into there, that's the disrupted piece.
Correct.
And that's real important. And
those are the SaaS pieces that are being disrupted at this point, right? And I think it brings it into like the direct toll. There's not usually one toll, by the way. Apple's an extreme example. There's multiple tolls into this customer. And if your toll is ultimately QuickBooks, you don't have a direct line in. So if you're one of these things that are, creating a bridge.
Where you're pulling,
QuickBooks.
exactly. You may be using a certain close software, which is it's like a point solution.
Yeah.
You may not need that anymore.
Right.
You may want something that's more extensive.
Right.
Okay. So I think, again, this is all going to start playing out, but let's now get into AI Is it or is it not killing entry-level jobs?
So I don't see it killing here. I don't see it killing entry-level jobs. I have client discussions, 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I have not yet hung up with a client who has said, not hiring any entry levels this year in any capacity whatsoever. So I can understand the threat, and the people are people see it. I think that there's going to be, changes to what these new people coming in are doing. I mean, I talk to our interns all the time. Like, they luckily unluckily for them, they sit right outside my office. I don't see them saying, "Oh, you guys use a variety of these LLMs and other tools within WISP. We don't have anything to do."
Right.
I don't quite see that.
No, and I think this is the counterintuitive set, right? Like that. This is now again. This is a generalized piece. There are many sectors that it is hurting, right? So it really depends on the industry. It depends on the background that an individual may have. So all those things. I'm just saying in general,
right?
What they've been saying about is AI killing entry-level jobs? The answer from what the data is saying, no.
Yep.
And that they're basically saying is that if you're using more of AI, you're actually is a 6% increase in entry. If you're not, and it's a low adoption, you have been seeing a reduction.
I mean, that's kind of what we've been saying.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
because you're creating more work.
Right. Right. You're discovering more, which leads to it like it's any technological advancement we've had as a civilization. If you ran away from it, you're probably worse off.
Yeah.
Right. At any moment in time, if you think about it during any period of rapid advancement, if you shied away from the advancement, you probably were worse off.
Yep. And I think what we're seeing here is that normally what happens, just like we were talking about with the collapse of the SaaS market, usually it's predicting they see fear coming. They don't know where it's going to hit yet, but let's just get out, right?
Yeah.
And I think in 2024, probably even in 2025, companies were cutting back, right? Because they probably thought this was going to happen.
Yep.
And now that they're seeing it's not happening, they're switching, right? Because I think the way that I can validate that is just by the internships in 2026 are materially ahead of 24 and 25.
Yep.
Okay. So that's my feeling there. And then it's just interesting is that software engineers specifically are up 15%.
Right. Which was the first really public, I would say, career path that was going to be victimized by AI.
Well, here's the thing. This is where a lot of impact, right? So overall job postings are down 7% since Claude. So these numbers are still going to shake out. But what's carrying a lot of this is people are needing more software engineers again.
Yeah.
So I would imagine as more people in the office of CFO and accounting firms use AI, they're probably going to start hiring more.
I mean,
that seems like the trend.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's probably going to happen in every industry that if they've been cutting back and they haven't really used AI yet.
Right. Is there any end to questions, right? Like, is there any end where you've asked the final question, or I just don't think that's a reality of humanity or any, right? So like, with the ability to have, like, I don't see it. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm the dummy.
Again, it's so. All I know is that I look at life from this very simplistic standpoint. If you create more, you will have more things to do.
Right.
AI allows you to create more.
Right.
Now, what we do with all that creation will be, time will tell.
Sure.
But the answer is we are going to create a lot more with AI.
Right.
We create it faster.
Well,
and we're going to create it at a faster clip than we as humans can process, which means you're going to need more humans to just decipher through what's important, what's not.
Right.
I mean, even us, it took us a year to adjust to the rapid nature of what AI allows you to do. And we had to pull back.
Yep.
We had to pull back. Remember, we were running 100 miles an hour and going nowhere. If you think about it, right, is you start to have a lot of horizontal creep.
Yeah.
But I think that's an important. I feel like that's an important piece on the growth curve. You've got to do that.
Right.
Every company has to experience.
Well,
this.
then you
because you need to be able to like start seeing like, wait, what are we doing? I'm like AI's creating a lot of work that I really don't even need. Thank you very much, but I don't know. It's not that important.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but you need to go through that to determine that.
It's the funny, like, I guess, analogy of if you don't do that, you'd worry about what was possible that you didn't do. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you cut down on your explosion, it's like, well, why did we? So you do get there.
Oh,
like,
totally.
We did. You'll get there and be like, oh,
yeah.
all right, I get it. We got to pull our reins back a little bit, or have our reins pulled back a little bit.
That's right. So, and you got to go through it.
I know.
You got to go through it. All right. So let's go on to this one, which I thought was interesting, is that, again, like there's all of this, like I would say, noise around the cost of AI, right? Mm-hmm. But the reality is that it's becoming cheaper on a per unit basis. It just is, right? Yep. And so then you've heard of this whole Jevons. Is it Jevons paradox? I never knew how to say it. Is it Jevons?
Yeah.
Drew, how do we pronounce that? Yeah.
He's going to find out.
Because I don't want to get this wrong, especially for our technical people. You don't know what that is? No. But, so anyway, what basically it means is that what happens is that as something becomes cheaper, you actually will use it a lot more. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so the cost of intelligence is falling 6 times faster than PC costs did during the personal computer revolution, right? Okay. So it took almost 2 decades in affordability for the PC. AI has done it in 3 years.
Okay.
All right. That's a massive difference. So, and the tokens per user is growing much faster than spend per user.
Right.
That's interesting.
Right.
So we're consuming this exponentially.
Yeah.
What do we got, Drew? Yeah, Jevons. You said it right. Jevons. All right. Good. Oh, wow. All right. Pat on the back. So it's interesting is that only 2.2% of consumer households are paying for AI.
So is that
isn't that nuts? Only 2.2 consumer households currently pay for AI, and compared to 45% PC ownership in 1997, we are nowhere near mass market adoption.
So I'm processing this because I've not heard this before. How does that rectify or reckon with the overall financial data that we've seen from the LLMs, right? So if we look at...
Because I think so few people are buying them.
Right. So I guess the intent... hey.
So think about it. It's like, of course you're saying it's so expensive because you're buying so much of it.
Correct.
It's not spread across...
Correct.
...a lot of other users.
Right. So if we increase, again, I could do so much analysis on this, but then assumedly you can increase that to 95% payers. And what do the financial models look like at that level?
Well, I think here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing, right? Out of all of this, you can't wait.
Oh,
that's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
so like,
if that's where you're, yeah.
I think what I was trying to get is you just can't wait.
Yeah.
Because of all of the learnings, right? And the other thing is I don't think it's going to come down.
Right.
I don't think it's going to come down because how is it going to come down when you have such a low amount of, it's got such a long way to go in terms of like usage.
Right.
So if the demand is going to be there, I don't know. I think what people also have to understand is that if we're going to wait, I think for the AI to get commoditized, that's not happening anytime soon.
Right.
Okay. I think though what will happen though if the AI adoption is cheaper if you start using it sooner.
Well, you'll be able to cut down mistakes.
Yeah, and you have you have time on your side.
Right.
Because you still don't have a lot of threat from other companies that have brought this in and have used it to so extensively that it's made them so much more competitive. But that will happen.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the bigger risk I think I just wanted to call out is
stagnation and nothing.
Stop of waiting if you think that it's going to go down. Because it's not going to go down. So, all right, let's go into one more thing. Okay? And then this is just, I think interesting for me. I'm going to put my stats aside here. So England, okay? So England hasn't won the World Cup in, I think, 60 years, Drew? Validating sources here.
Uh-huh.
So it's been a lot of, let's say, bad luck along the way. There was the hand of God, and that occurred in 1986, I believe, with Maradona, Mexico City.
Yep.
They had no VAR then. Are you aware of this?
No.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what happened is Argentina was playing England. Maradona went up for a head ball, but he really hit it with his hand. It was a goal, and it stayed. There was no way to review it, but he really, in pictures, like you see him like hitting it with his hand.
All right, so that was the hand
it's
of
called
God.
the hand of God play,
That's okay.
right? So am I right, Drew? All right. Time they won the World Cup. So.
Wow.
So so there's and England is, I mean, the term hooligans came really passionate fans.
Yep.
So they hired a German citizen, Thomas Tuchel, because what they felt, this is the federation in England, felt that they needed someone. He had they referred to it as a technical advantage. No one like that. He had alpha.
Okay.
His tactical knowledge provided the UK team. Well, I shouldn't say UK. It's England.
Yep.
With an advantage because of him, his intelligence, and his ability to read systems and the like. And that is alpha. So they bring him in. And so here, what
year was this? Like what
they hired him? I would say maybe two. I think it was after the Euros, right?
Yes,
2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And Southgate used to be the coach, and he was a well-liked guy, but he couldn't finish the deal. He couldn't win the Euro. He couldn't win the World Cup. Got close, but couldn't do it. And I mean, again, it's not his fault, but like we like to blame the coach for everything. In this case, I think it is Tuchel's fault. And so, two things that he did was just horrific from a leadership perspective, and I'm definitely going to write about this. One is the game against Norway, which they won. Do you know what he did after the game?
No.
He ripped his players to the press, saying it wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough. Beat Norway, which a lot of people at the time thought Norway was going to win the game.
Yep.
Right. And Norway is an incredible team. Just to win that game,
Right.
you do not
and he
ever
went
publicly say that.
Yep.
So that really, I think, had an impact on his locker room.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's one, horrible. But the thing is, he goes out now, plays against Argentina. England has amazing offensive weapons. Their weakness was in the back.
Yep.
Especially on the outside backs. I would say it's like more of their weakness, right? And Argentina's strength, as you know, is offense.
Yeah.
And their weakness was their backs.
Yep.
Okay. So what would you do?
I assume.
Go ahead.
Attack.
You're now like you're supposed to bring alpha. So like I'm hiring, you're bringing me alpha.
I'm going to highlight my attack. That's what I'm good at. And I'm going to try to cover as best as I can in the back, but I'm going to attack.
Okay. And you have no alpha, and I think that makes a lot of sense, right? right. Here's okay. So England's game plan was to do that, and they were having some success. So they go up 1-0 in the 55th minute.
Right.
He's got a sub waiting to go in, which was very interesting. The other thing is Tuchel had to have his hands in the game because he's got to be, again, like he must have a tremendous ego from my perspective.
Okay.
Because he started Rodgers, who I don't think did he play a minute of any game, maybe a minute of another game?
Throwaway group stage game.
Yeah. So he starts this player, and again, Rodgers is a phenomenal player.
Right.
But he doesn't start Marcus Rashford, who had just a phenomenal year. Okay, and has a lot of experience. He's ready to put him in 54th minute or 55th minute. They're up 1-0.
Yep.
He immediately pulls him back, and he puts in defense. And now he's playing with a 5 back system.
So he went into a defensive.
Okay. Now, what was Argentina's strength?
Offensive.
Right. So now what you're basically doing at this point with 35 plus minutes left to go in the game,
Right.
you're inviting Lionel Messi, come attack me.
Right.
Come attack me.
Right. Making the wrong bet.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's pretty. Again, I don't know this, at any level. Never
It's just
mind.
absolutely insane. And the thing is, I can go into this from many different facets. I think it just goes again, like just for business with strategy, it's just like, why don't we stick with what we're good at, right? And these emotional aspects, it's just, it's very interesting, risk.
Yeah.
And how do you, like, risk reward? It just, I understand you can go into that shell as you're in now the 80th minute, and you may have 10 minutes to go. You're going to defend for your life, okay? I think that could be said, but there's just, it just, for the life of me, why we, and many organizations do this. It's just this fear sometimes makes you do things that are opposite to what your strengths are, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go one step further, which is leadership. When asked after the game, does he have any regrets? He says no. He took no accountability for it, but basically said his game plan was great. Mm-hmm. And so
for the first 55 minutes,
it's crazy. It's
Wow.
like I feel so bad for England.
Yeah,
Because it's just the way they played against Mexico and the heart of that team, they deserve better. And to handcuff the players.
yeah, that's terrible.
Because you have two absolute stars. Do you know who the two stars of England are?
No, no idea.
It's Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane.
All right, I've heard of them. Now I'm familiar.
Okay,
Yeah.
these guys are they're if not in the top 5 of the entire tournament, top 10,
Yep.
maybe top 7. Okay, phenomenal. You're now taking Harry Kane, who's a goal scorer. He's now playing at the 25-yard line. You took him out of the game. So anyway, I can go on and on and on and on. But I don't get why leaders do this.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
If you don't have the game plan, no matter what the sport is, you can't. And the game plan has to tie into exactly what you're good at, recognizing what you're not good at. But I've always been a believer in, we could either go work on that we're not so great at. It's one aspect or one, theory, or let's highlight what we're really good at, and let's go win with that. And that's what I've always gravitated towards. The only correlation I have was with American football. So I've coached football for years, not well, but I was lucky enough to be alongside of a guy that played at the University of Miami, a local legend, and we coached together. And we were playing at that time was an important game. And our opposition had a fantastic middle linebacker, and we were strong in run. And I kept thinking, like, all right, we're going to run pitch, we're going to run outside, we're going to get away. And he completely reframed my thinking. And he was like, I want you to call out where 44 is. We're running directly at him every play. And I was like, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. He goes, his strength is pursuit of tackle. We're going to remove his strength of pursuit of tackle. We're great at running the ball. We're going to run the ball right at him. And I was like, that is, I would have lost or maybe not been as, because my immediate thought was we got to get away from the guy.
Yeah.
We got to get away. He was like, that's his strongest pursuit is his strength. And I was like, that's a pretty, so
yeah,
we won.
Yeah,
Knock
perfect. No, but that's a great lesson.
It was a great lesson.
It's a great lesson, and that's why I'm bringing it up. I'm just hoping that we can learn from these things because, hey, I just feel like leadership is just so not where it needs to be, and there's so many examples of poor leadership and not enough examples of good leadership. I mean, that's a whole other soapbox conversation. But the other thing I think is just don't allow fear to cripple you, and I think in AI that's a real important thing right now.
It really is. It hammers home like the beginning of this conversation when I had the discussion with the client, and like recognizing that there is fear here. Recognizing that the word is grieving, right? There's something real in that, but leading through that, getting to the point where, like, the fear gives you the opportunity to be courageous. That old example, like you can step through this and become far more valuable and influential on the other side of this. This is an enabler. This is to be looked at for what it is and not, the what ifs and all the, like, this is what it is today. It's an enabler. It's an amplifier. Use it as that.
Yeah, love that. All right, let's end on that. All right, good job. That's a wrap on This Week in Accounting AI. If you found this useful, make sure to follow us. On Spotify, smash that follow button on our show page. And on Apple Podcasts, tap the plus sign and leave us a quick rating while you're there. I'm Paul Peterson. See you next week.